Still morning. Good morning, everybody. I had to break into bad news and opening statements that you had to listen to 9 hours of this stuff. And I want to, and I'm sure the judge will tell you the same thing. Because he told you you're going to be sequestered doesn't mean that you can't come to a decision even today and not be sequestered. So I just want to make sure you guys knew that. But deliberate fully. I know we told you how horrible this was going to be. For many of you, and Mark and Rick and I have tried a lot of murder cases. And when you talk to lay people who aren't used to seeing the pictures and seeing the horrible things that happen with these families, it's hard. And I really very much, on behalf of the state of Ohio, appreciate what you have done over the last couple of weeks, because it is not pleasant. But through that, everyone said they would listen to the evidence that you got from the witness stand, the depositions that you heard, the stipulations that you heard. And you also said you would not base any of your verdicts on sympathy. And the judge will instruct you in that. All we want you to do is what Judge Dinkelhocker tells you to do. That's all we want you to do. And it's not subjective. It is not subjective. It's, as Mark said, it is the weighing process. You decide what happened in these cases versus the mitigation presented to you. That's all you do. And if you feel and you're sure that aggravation, even to the slightest extent, outweighs the mitigation, you need to tell the judge you have returned a death verdict. And we asked every single one of you, would you be able to be the 12th juror to sign that verdict form? And every one of you said, yes, I can do that. I was listening to defense attorney's close, and he said, Kirkland never had a chance. You know who didn't have a chance? These 4 girls right here that you see in front of you. They didn't have a chance. He had every chance in the world. Mark laid out the whole weighing thing, and we just want you to follow your oath. That's all we want. It's very simple. Go back. The judge will tell you select a foreman or forelady and decide at that point if aggravation outweighs the mitigation. That's all you have to do. And if you're certain of it, you must do it. And I want to be very candid with you about something. If you do, Judge Dinkelhocker is going to sentence him likewise. That's going to happen. So let's look at the weighing process briefly. Dr. Wu, how would you determine someone's credibility? And I know you, as jurors, this is maybe in everyday life you can tell when your kid's lying or tell when somebody's not shooting straight with you. When he asked for no interpretation of the scans from Ohio State, why would somebody do that? What's the purpose of that? I got news for you. The purpose is you don't want the answer. You just don't want that answer. Kirkland had Braden scans in 2007, 2009, and 2 months before he killed Esme. All normal. Everything was normal. 5 different doctors said nothing was abnormal with him. Dr. Wu, on the other hand, has never seen a brain scan that was normal. So if he scanned you guys, you're all going to be abnormal, which excuses, go ahead, go kill 5 girls. Dr. Wu is a psychiatrist, okay? He's not a radiologist. It would be like you saying, wow, I need to get open heart surgery. Let me go see my dentist. Really? When all the radiologists are saying he's normal and they bring in Dr. Wu? You know, sometimes when you watch the news on TV and they have the radar up and it's all lit up and they enhance the thing, it looks like this huge storm's coming rolling through and scares everybody to death, and then nothing happens. They're just enhancing the color. That's all they're doing. It's the same thing Dr. Wu does. When I was in college, I took this class called How to Lie with Statistics. And they talked about gee whiz graphs. And basically, there are these graphs that they show the housing prices, and they're going straight through the roof. But if you look at the other axis, those are like $5 increments. So really, it wasn't that much, but it looks like it's big. That's what you're dealing with Dr. Wu. Dr. Van Nuys, she seems like a nice lady, but she didn't have the information that she needed to make a decision. And even when confronted with it, stood by her diagnosis. She says he's disassociative, but he remembers, you guys heard his confession, he remembers every detail of these murders, every detail, down to the most disgusting details you can imagine. And unfortunately, you all and us, everybody, have to live with that the rest of your life. But he remembers it. That's not disassociative. He remembers that stuff. The other thing you can judge her on, and the most astounding thing, is she's asked directly, when he's burning these bodies, do you think that was a purification ritual? And the answer is yes. She believes that? He takes Cassania and throws her into a ditch and covers her with tires? Is that part of the ritual? It's amazing. She didn't have the information she needed to have, and she was not willing to change anything about her opinion in the face of every piece of evidence pointing the otherwise. In terms of Kirkland and what he said, you're going to have all these records back with you. You're going to have them all. Okay, you can read it for yourself. Excuse me one second. You're going to have them all yourself. And when you hear about this abuse as a child, when you listen to this nonsense coming out, try to find out who said it. Who said he was abused? Who said that? One person. Him. That's it. He's the only one who said he was abused. His sisters don't say it. His mom doesn't say it. And by the way, if that was true, the defense has as much power to subpoena anybody in this case. and bring them in front of this jury and say, my brother was abused by my father. And guess what? Where are they?
I don't believe that it is. We ask you to move on, Mr. Deters. The objection's over with this point. Go ahead, sir.
Where are they? Why aren't they in here telling you the story about the horrible abuse he did, was subject to? Where are they? They don't exist. That's why they're not here. You know, Kirkland spent time in prison, like 16 years or so, for murdering his uncle's girlfriend before he got out and he killed the other 4. And you're going to have his prison records back there. Okay, so he's not drinking in prison. He's not doing drugs in prison. You're going to have this exhibit back there. It states Exhibit 68. He went to see the nurse at the prison for some treatment for some minor ailment. And I know in prison you're really pressed for time, and he wasn't willing to wait. And he started yelling at the nurse at the prison. And you'll have the whole packet of this nonsense he continues to do in his life. He says, I'm doing time for murder, motherfucker, and I will kill you, just you punk-ass motherfucker. This is a nurse in the prison. Look at 68 when you get back there. So his mitigation, I would submit to you, is zero. Nothing. It comes out of his mouth. And you know, many times when we deal with jurors, they always think, well, if somebody says something, they tend to believe it. They do. But who would lie to you? Who would lie to people? Who would lie to their doctors that says he was abused? Who would do that? How about a guy who kills 5 girls? That's somebody who would lie to you. What kind of moral compass does this guy have? Nothing. Zip. So he's got nothing in mitigation. He's got nothing. He's got Dr. Wu and his psychologist who didn't see everything. I mean, the other thing about the psychologist, when Mark said, do you believe their expert or ours? I mean, is there even a close comparison? I mean, it's a joke. That guy had no idea what he's talking about. So on that side of the scale, we got paltry at best. Maybe. What's on the other side of the scale? We have Cherie's murder. Little Cherie. He tries to have sex with her. Officer $20, raises it to $60, drags her up the hill, knocks out her teeth. Can you imagine how painful that'd be? Punches out her teeth. He tries to rape her. Remember, you have to accept the jury's verdict from the last case. They found him guilty of that. This is what Kirkland does to little girls. Okay? That's what he does. So she's in incredible pain with her teeth knocked out. All of her personal property's taken. Shoes, book bag, cell phone, ring, they're all taken from her. So let's balance that atrocity against that mitigation, which weighs nothing. And you all swore to uphold your oath in this case that you would follow Judge Dinkelacker's instructions. I know it's not pleasant. It's no fun for anybody up here. But you swore to do it. The other verdict form is for Casanya's case, is that he did this in a continuing course of conduct to kill 2 or more people, obviously. He murdered Casanya, he murdered Kimya, he murdered Mary Jo, he murdered Esme. The human carnage that he committed is almost unimaginable. And if you compare it to the mitigation, it's not even a close call. The next 2 verdicts you're going to consider are the aggravated murder of Esme Kenny. First, again, the continuing course of conduct. He murdered Casanya, he murdered Mary Jo, he murdered Kimya, he murdered Esme. And if you weigh that against the paltry amount of mitigation, the answer is very clear. Mark brought this up on cross-examination. I want to just show you something. I can't believe anybody, and that psychologist is an educated woman, would believe this was some kind of purification ritual. The only place Kirkland burned Esme were areas where they're going to find DNA. Her hand, her vagina, it's the only area he burned. He didn't have an accelerant. He didn't have an accelerant. He couldn't burn the whole body. So he just took his choice of where to burn her. So Esme's out for a jog. It's about 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and she is brutally attacked by him. He tries to have vaginal intercourse with her, this little baby. I call her baby. I mean, my kids are older now, so Esme at 13 is a baby to me. He's 6'2" and 220 pounds, and he tears her vagina, trying to force himself inside of her. He also tears her anus. He can't get inside her. And excuse my language. But when he's talking to the detective, he says, "I fuck like a champ." Really? And he can't get inside her, so what's he decide to do? He says to the detectives, he has to finish. So he makes this little girl masturbate him. What kind of a human being does something like that? But he's not done. Not Kirkland. You guys are weighing aggravation and mitigation. You know what he's weighing right now with Esme? Esme's doing and saying anything to get away from him. And he considers it consent? Really? Don't leave your common sense in the courthouse steps, okay? You've heard a lot of gobbledygook all week. Oh, he's brain and all this other stuff. He knows what, he's a college graduate, okay? He's a serial killer. So he's weighing, Do I let her go back to her mom and her dad? Do I do that? And maybe go back to jail for what I just did? No, let's just strangle her. Let's do that. That's a good idea. That's what he does. And he does it slowly. He can't get a good grip on her from the front. Remember that statement he's made? He can't get a good grip. So then he sits on her back, takes a rag out of his back pocket, twirls it up, and you saw the striations on Esme's neck, and slowly strangles her to death. And he talks about her little fingers digging into the ground as she vomits and gags. What mitigation could possibly outweigh that? He did the same thing to Cassania. Same thing. What could possibly outweigh that? You know, he was raised in the same family with 3 other siblings. This abusive alcoholic. He's raised in the same family. And guess what they got? A traffic ticket. That's it. 1 traffic ticket. There's no police reports of domestic violence, nothing. But this abusive household is what he wants to hang his hat on, and there's no one saying that. They weren't on the witness stand. It's all from him. A serial killer. That's who says it. You know, if we had an actual scale right here weighing the aggravation versus the mitigation, the aggravating side would be so heavy, it would drive through 3 floors of granite through this courtroom right now. That's how heavy it would be. Compared to that mitigation is a joke. It's almost insulting that I know they're doing their best. Trust me, I get it. They're good lawyers. They're doing all they can do. But it is a joke.
Objections noted, so overruled.
The entire strategy here is to find one juror who won't follow their oath. One. That's what they want. You all swore to follow your oath. All of you. You can end this now. The police did their job. We did our job. The judge has done his. Now do yours. And tell the judge that this aggravation clearly outweighs the mitigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dieters. Everybody okay, ladies and gentlemen?